Who are they? Why are they doing this?
The Strangers trilogy has received another edition recently, and Scarecrow, Dollface, and Pinup Girl are back terrorizing people in the small town of Venus, Oregon, after their latest victim, Maya, survived. Let's see what these crazed killers are up to, but not before you tap on that subscribe button. Done? Good. Then let's get crack-a-lackin'. Back in Hell. The movie opens in a diner, where Shelly, a waitress at Carol's diner, tells an unseen man that the man she just talked to was a traveling salesman. The next moment, Shelly is knocking on the door asking the creepy question, is Tamara home? Then Pinup Girl, who is revealed to be Shelly, Dollface, and Scarecrow kill the salesman. Meanwhile, Maya wakes up in Venus County Hospital and gets the horrific news that her fiancé Ryan had not survived the attack. Maya is interrogated by the sheriff and his deputy, who do not seem to be interested in actually investigating the case. The sheriff constantly brushes off her memories, saying that they are not dependable as she nearly died. Later, in Carol's diner, the two reveal to the people at the diner that Maya was still alive. A local woman comments that she suspects Maya killed her partner for insurance money. Back at the hospital, Nurse Danica gives Maya pain meds and she settles in for the night. Maya has a rough night though, as she is plagued by nightmares. Unable to sleep, she checks her phone where more bad news awaits. Her sister tells her that she was delayed and she was sending a private EMT to get her to a hospital in Portland. Then she gets a call from an unknown number with the same haunting question. Is Tamara there? A commotion outside lets her know that her predators are closer than she had hoped for, and she jumps into action. Hiding in the nooks and crannies of the hospital, she makes it to the morgue where Scarecrow finds her. She manages to escape though, and ends up in a horse farm. The farm owner, an old lady, mistaking her to be an intruder, gets her gun out, but Maya pleads her case and asks her for help. The woman tells her that the sheriff was not going to help her, but before she gives an explanation as to why, Pinup Girl kills her with a crossbow. Friends or foes? Maya starts running again, and Nurse Danica, who was headed back home with her roommate Chris, picks her up in their car. Maya gets in the car, but she is still not sure that Danica means no harm. Her suspicions only gets worse as Chris locks all the doors, causing her to go completely berserk. Danica calms her down and tells her that they intend no harm. She tells her that she wants to take her home, tend to her wounds, and they can figure out the rest later. Maya agrees and settles down, but not before getting her boots on, just in case. On the way home, they meet Danica's other roommates, Greg and Neil. Since it was raining outside, they offer a ride to Greg and Neil, which they accept. Greg and Neil are fascinated by Maya as the entire town is talking about her and just glare at her. In Maya's defense, Greg especially comes across super creepy. The stares agitate her nerves, which are further activated by seeing Chris pull out her knife to eat an apple. Maya grabs the knife and jumps out of the car, heading straight into the woods. In the woods, she re-stitches her wounds and finds an abandoned campsite. She lights up a fire and starts getting comfortable. Unfortunately, Scarecrow is pretty close, and he lets loose a wild boar to torment her. The boar attacks her viciously, but Maya is full-on survivor mode. She uses the knife to kill the boar and trudges up into the cabin where she was attacked. While this is happening, the sheriff and the deputy take a ride along the town to see the red van Maya mentioned seeing. The sheriff does see a van that matches Maya's description, but he does not take the trouble of mentioning it. Back at the diner, the deputy suggests calling in the FBI to investigate Maya's disappearance and Ryan's murder, but the sheriff, afraid of his previous cover-ups being dredged up again, says that'd be a bad idea. No escape. At the cabin, Maya cleans herself up and gets some food to eat. She is startled by Billy Buford, a state policeman who was there to investigate the sheriff department at Venus. Maya asks him to get her out of the town, and Billy obliges. He helps her into the car, and as he is about to get in, Pinup Girl strikes again. She kills Billy, and Maya, fearing for her life, gets away in his car. Maya's luck seems to have run out as Billy's car only gets her so far before its engine goes out. She knocks on the nearest door and Neil opens it. Maya's exhaustion gets to her and she passes out, but thankfully, Danica and her roommates are not horrible people and they patch her up before tucking her into bed. When she wakes up, Greg creeps up on her again and tells her that she was the only victim of the strangers to survive. Danica shoos him away and asks Maya not to take him seriously as he is just an arrogant prick. She gives Maya her phone and asks her to go to sleep as she needs all the rest she can get. Greg visits her in the bedroom and asks her what she was thinking when the strangers attacked. Maya shares that she felt the time was going too slow and that she realized she only had very less of it. Greg tells her that the strangers had been haunting Venus for a long time. When Maya asks why, Greg asks her, does there have to be idea why? Greg is officially on our suspects list now. Greg leaves, and as Maya decides to turn in for the night, the strangers attack. They had just killed the private EMT Maya's sister had sent to bring her to Portland and had driven to Danica's house in the van. They kill Danica, Neil, and Chris and chase Maya. Maya gets in the van, but Pinup Girl is waiting for her, and she attacks. Maya fights back with all the tools in the EMT van and sticks a pair of scissors into her skull. Pinup Girl drops down, seemingly lifeless, and Maya begins to drive away. Pinup Girl still had some fight left in her though, as she starts choking Maya. Maya crashes the van and Pinup Girl finally drops dead. She runs away into the woods and hides as the red van reaches the side of the crash. Scarecrow and Dollface mourn the death of Pinup Girl, while Maya can only watch in horror. Origins of the two. Overall, The Strangers Chapter 2 has a whole lot of "this could have been an email" energy, as the story did not move that ahead and very few interesting points were introduced. One is definitely the fact that the sheriff seems to be in on the murders, and the other being that Gregory seems to be Scarecrow. Throughout the film, there are bits and pieces of the past that show the origin of the strangers, well, at least the origin of two of them. This story begins in a school where a black-haired girl plays in the sand alone. We don't know her name yet, but she seems like a loner. Her only friend is a boy who smiles at her. One of the popular girls steps on the sandcastle she had made and destroys it. She doesn't even notice it, so an apology is a far-fetched thing here. She doesn't take offense to that though, and smiles back at the blonde boy. The girl and boy are later seen playing together when suddenly, one of the popular girls, Tamara, pretends to fall off her cycle. The boy rushes to help her as she wails about her ankle. The girl isn't too happy about it and takes out her anger by crushing a mouse to death. The girl, seemingly having had enough of Tamara, knocks on the door. When Tamara opens the door, she asks whether Tamara was home and hits her to death with a large stone. As Tamara's lifeless body falls, the girl sits in front of it with no emotions whatsoever. The boy sits next to her and holds her hand. As they both smile, we see concerned adults rushing in. This murderous girl was Shelley, the waitress, who would moonlight as Pinup Girl, and the boy was none other than her partner in crime, Scarecrow. While the origin story does give us an insight about how the murders began, I feel like it goes against Brian Bertino's original vision. While making the very first film, he had insisted on not profiling the murderers or looking into their origin stories, as he was more interested in narrating stories that showed the victim's point of view. The trilogy seems to be moving away from this vision. Mid-credits scene. Rennie Harlan teases the next film, The Strangers Chapter 3, in a mid-credits scene that is very intriguing. We see Maya run around in the town and the woods surrounding it to survive, which is par for the course, but the standout scene is Maya wearing the Pinup Girl mask herself. So, is she indoctrinated into being a stranger? She might be, given that she killed Pinup Girl and might have also enjoyed it, or she might have Stockholm syndromed into the group out of pity for the life she took. There is also a good chance that the scene is just a dream sequence that Maya had, but another scene where she tells the town sheriff that she knows where they are suggests that she might be playing the role of a double agent to get them arrested. These are all just speculations though that can only be verified when The Strangers Chapter 3 releases. Marvelous verdict. While plot-wise the film does not make a lot of progress, Chapter 2 is definitely worth the watch for the spectacular acting performances, especially that of Richard Blake, who plays the sheriff perfectly, and Madeline Petch, whose crazed, hurried, and worried acting will convince you that her life is definitely under threat. What did you think about Chapter 2? Let us know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, tap on that thumbs up. We'll soon be back exploring more of your famous movies, and until then, take care and goodbye.